How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, I have some absolutely epic battles for you guys in the Ultra League, featuring probably the spiciest team I have yet to run this season. And a little bit of backstory. So, on my main account, I'm sitting around like 2750 right now. I was literally 50 elo away from Legend when the Great League ended. And I told myself I was going to take the Ultra League off and just relax. Because I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to start playing and then, you know, start losing and then start dropping elo slowly and be like, oh, I'll get the next set. And I did that for like 200 elo, and now I'm at 2750. So this literally happens every time the Ultra League comes around and I'm at high elos. But instead of running Spice and dropping even further, because I really just don't have the mental fortitude to play any more GBL right now at high ranks. I just need to relax, wait for the Love Cup to come around, and hope we can make one final Legend push. But anyway, rather than tanking myself back down to Ace on my main account, I decided to get on my wife's old account and think of the most ridiculous team I could. And not only did I do that, but I dropped over 500,000 dust and like probably 400 rare candies, and I built this team. And I don't know about you guys, but I have literally never seen a Tauros in any league whatsoever. I've seen very few Lugias in anything but Master League, and I probably have seen maybe 1 or 2 Pincers ever in any league. So this team not only is ridiculous, but we have 2 shinies in the back. And man, we started at rank 1 because I had not played any battles yet on her account. But despite being at rank 1, you guys are going to witness some absolutely insane battles. Because really, once you get past like rank 4 or 5, most of the teams that you run into are actually pretty meta. Lots of starters, Swamperts, Charizards, Venusaurs, tons of Giratinas, lots of legendaries, and really, the opponents are actually not bad once you get past like rank 4 to 5, because a lot of people, myself included, have other B accounts. I actually have 2 B accounts that we will oftentimes play on when we don't feel like tanking on our main. So that being said, you guys are in for a real treat. I have some ridiculous battles to show you, so let's get right into these. And let me know in the comments if you guys have ever seen any of these Mons in open play, because I really have seen very few, especially Tauros. Tauros, we'll get into that as we watch this first battle, but Tauros is so bad. Horn Attack is one of the worst moves in the game. It's basically a normal equivalent of the move Bone Club. So we are met with a Talonflame, and as you see, this is 2464, so really still probably like level 49, and this is only rank 7, so we are met with the Talonflame. I actually throw on CMP there, hoping that if they Brave Bird, I would lose CMP and then force a shield. But Tauros actually wins CMP against Talonflame, so who knew that? And we get to a second Horn Attack just before they get to their second Flame Charge. As you see, I did call the first, and we actually get a shield with Horn Attack from the Talonflame. So there, I actually switch into the Lugia. I save the low health Tauros for a potential catch later on if need be. And I called a Flame Charge, but I get hit with a double boosted Brave Bird there. And even though Lugia is extremely bulky, that does a lot of damage. And they bring in a level 50 XL Best Buddy Umbreon. And it doesn't look like it's a hundo, but this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is a, so far, double XL team. And this is very bad for us, as you see, because Lugia does not do well here at all. And our Tauros is basically dead, so basically, Pinsir is going to have to close out this game. So we're going to bring it in here, and we're going to have to be close combating this thing because it is nowhere near X-Scissor range. So I'm going to let the first move go, knowing I'm going to need those shields after I debuff myself. And he very wisely Psychics there, probably recognizing that I was going to let the first one go. And I actually throw just before he gets to a foul play. And does the Umbreon respect the close combat? And it does not. We take it out. I'm expecting the Talonflame to come back in, and this is why I saved the Tauros, because I was able to reset that close combat debuff, because one Incinerate probably KOs my Pinsir with that debuff, because Pinsir is very, very glassy, and I'm hoping to farm down, and an Incinerate goes through before I farm down, and look at how much that Incinerate did, and now it's Pinsir with like no health versus a full health Cresselia, but Pinsir has like nearly 3 X-Scissors here, so the first one lands, and we're already nearly at 2 more, and this game is going to be coming right down to the wire. We get the second one off, and the Cresselia is now below half health. They're just getting to their move, just going to be a Grass Knot, but we have to shield, And we have to hope that we can get to 2 more X-Scissors before this Cresselia gets to another Grass Knot, or Psycho cuts us down. So we're getting the 3rd one off. Pinsir is ridiculously spammy, as you guys see. And now it's going to be a race. Can we get there? And we do just get there. They actually over-tapped. That should have been a CMP tie, but Pinsir gets off 4 X-Scissors with like a quarter of its health remaining and sweeps an entire team. And that's only game 1, guys. It just gets better from here. A shiny Tangrowth in the next battle here. Very cool. And basically, I tend to just stay in with Tauros and try to get a shield advantage usually. But here, I tried to be fancy and I tried to catch a Power Whip. But the opponent very wisely over-farms. And now our Lugia is going to have to tank some damage. But that is honestly what shiny Lugia does on this team, is just basically a meat shield. Because as you see, even though these rock slides are super effective, shiny Lugia has now taken 2 rock slides, and we're still not in farm down range. So we really do not like to shield our Lugia typically, and they actually do shield. So since they shield, I think maybe I should actually shield, and I do, yeah, because I'm thinking that maybe I can actually get their 2nd shield. So I'm actually going to stay in. I'm going to overfarm a little bit here, and I'm hoping actually that they shield again, because if we can get shields down, shiny Pinsir, as you saw in the last game, can close very strongly, and they actually decide to let it go. So we'll have to see if they come in with, and they come in with a Snorlax. So rather than switch out there, I maintain my ability to switch out, and I'm going to close combat this Snorlax. And really, guys, do you think this Snorlax knows what moveset Pinsir has? I do tank a Body Slam before I throw the close combat there. Otherwise, I would have to shield. And I'm going to go straight for the close combat and then dip out into my Tauros. And does the Snorlax respect it? And no, we nearly one-shot a Snorlax. And I immediately switch into my Tauros, knowing he's going to want to throw right away, since I debuffed myself. And that allows me to catch a Body Slam on my Tauros. And the opponent has an Obstagoon in the back, which is very bad. If he fully farms me down here, he may win this game, but does he know Tauros' moveset? And he shields a Horn attack. You absolutely love to see it. So there I committed to an Earthquake, thinking an Earthquake would maybe get into an X-Scissor range, but we don't get there. And now we should be okay, because they threw some energy, and we should be able to get to this close combat here, one-shot the Obstagoon, and then farm down the Snorlax. And a shiny Pinsir, guys, is currently sweeping a Ultra League Obstagoon and an Ultra League Snorlax, and we take that 2nd game. And your eyes are not deceiving you, guys. Shiny Pinsir has swept 2 games in a row. So a shiny Giratina in the next battle, and we'll have to see what the opponent does. And they actually switch out into their own Pinsir. And remember how in the intro I said I've only seen like 1 or 2 Pinsirs? Well, yeah, this is the only other Pinsir I've seen, and here I call an X-Scissor, and they superpowered me. So massive respect to this opponent for running Pinsir. And at this point, I'm just going to stay in with the Tauros, give myself a shield advantage, as you see there, and I'm hoping to get to another Horn attack, but I do just barely get farmed down. So we're just going to come in with the Lugia here and fully farm down, because I'm expecting that this Pinsir is probably running double fighting at this point, and yeah, they're just super powering us here. So we're going to fully farm down, and what I'm really hoping is that the fact that I bring in the Lugia will actually draw back out that Giratina, so that our Pinsir does not have to face in back, because Pinsir gets absolutely destroyed by Giratina. So sure enough, they do bring back in the Giratina, and this is actually not a terrible matchup for Lugia, and they actually shield our Sky Attack too, which is amazing. And we're just gonna basically stay in, Arrow Blast this thing, tank all this damage, and then hopefully sweep with Pinsir with 2 shields. So as you see, these Dragon Tails are adding up. And I don't know if the opponent's just single moved, or if they're just like continuously baiting us, but they're just going straight Dragon Claw. And as you see, Lugia has now taken 3 Dragon Claws and the Shadow Claws, and we still get to an Aero Blast. Lugia, actually, guys, I would definitely not recommend the team, but Lugia is kind of a beast, not gonna lie. And the opponent has a Gyarados in back, which is typically a terrible matchup, but with 2 shields, we are going to double close combat a flying type. And Pinsir is yet again going to sweep an entire back line. First close combat actually does a lot of damage, and the second one will probably just about KO. And the opponent realized his only win con there was to farm down, which is why he didn't throw a move. So nice play by the opponent, and Pinsir takes game 3. So these are flying by the way, wow. And we see an Ultra League Dialga in the next battle, which really, if you look at my team, our whole team kind of gets beat by Dialga. So what I'm recognizing here is that if he double shields, he probably farms me all the way down and then takes Lugia very low as well. So what I think I'm going to do is actually bait with a Horn Attack, which is very risky, and the opponent actually does shield. And now I'm thinking the opponent's like, yeah, this guy's running a Tauros. He probably has no idea what he's doing. He probably is just going to like spam off Horn Attacks, but does the Dialga know we're running Earthquake? It does not, and Tauros takes the one shield against Dialga. You absolutely love to see it. And they're actually running a Water Gun Swampert here, which typically you want to run Mud Shot, but actually for the opponent, this is actually better for them because Lugia does very well against Mud Shot Swampert, but these Water Guns and Hydro Cannons are actually going to add up here. So I'm hoping that the opponent here gives up his second shield, that way the Pinsir can sweep, but he actually lets that go. And this is a bit scary because if they have a Flyer in back, Pinsir really doesn't have a good one shield matchup. So what I'm going to do here is just bring it in and get an energy lead, and the opponent actually basically lets us farm down, and they bring in a Melmetal, and I don't know, guys, we've already seen some close combats land. Do you think that Melmetal knows about close combat from the shiny Pinsir? Let's find out. Here I'm just going straight for it. No baiting at all. And we nearly one-shot an Ultra League Melmetal with a Pinsir, and we're going to farm down the Swampert, and the opponent loses with his shield in hand. I was dying, guys. I was close combating these mons left and right, and Pinsir is just absolutely putting on a clinic, and we're facing an Articuno in the next battle. And again, one nice thing about Tauros, despite it being absolutely terrible, is that like literally nobody knows what it runs, because again, who's out there using Tauros? And we actually get a shield with the Horn Attack from the Articuno, and the opponent's probably kicking themselves right now. But again, I mean, he is going to be icy winding us, so it does make sense to shield the first. But as you see, we're chipping away at this thing, and Tauros actually has a semi-respectable amount of bulk, despite its terrible moveset. And yeah, that Horn Attack does absolutely no damage, and at this point we're just going to let our Tauros go down. We've gotten a shield advantage, and that's really about all you can ask for from Tauros, is to give yourself a shield advantage. So what I'm going to do now is bring in the Lugia and just hope that we can farm down before they get to 2 moves. So let's see. They're easily going to be getting to 1 here, and not sure we're going to be able to do it since we're going to be debuffed here. I think they may just barely get to another move. We'll have to see. And yeah, they do live on 1 HP and they get to another move. So very nicely done by them. So I'll probably have to switch out right away and just hope that they don't have a second Flyer. So we're going to be switching in right away to clear that debuff. And they bring in a Cresselia, which is actually not too bad, but then they bring in a Therian Landorus. So this is going to be a very close end game. Pinsir is going to have to put in so much work right now. And the nice thing is, again, some of these Ultra League legendaries are very glassy. So do you think the Therian Landorus respects the close combat? And it nearly one-shots the Landorus from half health. And now, since he let that go, we're going to Fury Cutter down a flying type, and then what you guys are going to see is basically Pinsir yet again taking on a Cresselia. So I'm going to throw right away, and I'm recognizing that my switch clock is coming up, and I think I can actually snipe here with this Sky Attack and hopefully force the last shield. Does the opponent know this is only a Sky Attack, or is he going to respect a potential Aeroblast? And he does give up his last shield, and now we may just have a chance here, but we're still going to have to hope our Pinsir can put in some work. And as you're going to see, the opponent is actually running Future Sight and Grass Knot on their Cresselia, and because of that, the Future Sight does not KO, and they're going to have to throw another move against our Lugia, and our Lugia has basically now put this thing into X-Scissor range. They're forced to throw. They're going to hit us with a Grass Knot here, but now Pinsir will be able to get to this X-Scissor. And Pinsir, as you guys have seen, Pinsir closes out games pretty well against some very meta mons. So very good game there. Pinsir has now taken down, what, at least 2 Cresselias. So good game to the opponent there. And in the next battle, we have a shiny Swampert. I did see quite a few Swamperts. That was probably the most common mon I saw in these lower ranks. And typically, I like to just, as you saw with the Articuno, just basically use the Tauros to try to get a shield advantage, and then I often will just let it go. But I think, yeah, I get the shield, but I think in this battle, No, okay, I do let it go here. Maybe I shield the next one. In one of the battles, I was feeling bad for Tauros because basically it's just so bad, and I landed almost no Earthquake, so I was like, I really just want to see if I can Earthquake something with my Tauros. So actually shield here, and I'm going to try to catch a Hydro Cannon on my Lugia, and I do catch the Hydro Cannon, and Lugia from full health can actually tank 3 Hydro Cannons from Swampert and still not be in farm down range. So we're just going to stay in here. We're going to tank all this damage and probably overfarm quite a bit before throwing the Sky Attack. So again, I'm going to tank the second Hydro here, and as you're about to see, we could comfortably take a third Hydro Cannon, and the opponent brings in a Giratina, which is absolutely perfect, because now our Pinsir does not have to face this. And again, Lugia doesn't do terrible against the Giratinas. This is the Origin form, so... And actually, it's running Dragon Tail too, so you love to see some of the crazy movesets in the lower ranks. And they actually let that go. I guess they're shieldless, and that actually does a lot of damage. So what we're going to do here is just bring the Tauros in, use it to absorb all this damage, because if they're running the traditional double ghost moveset, we're going to fully wall this thing, and it does look like they are. So we take that, and I think a Horn Attack... Yeah, Horn Attack should just basically KO from here, and I don't think that we're healthy enough here to get to an Earthquake. So sadly, Tauros yet again is just going to be going for Horn Attacks here, but the opponent actually has a Charizard in the back, and this is very, very bad because they have a flying fire type versus our bug type. We do actually get that Horn Attack off, which is massive, and now can Pinsir close out against a Charizard? Fortunately, this is running Fire Spin, which means they are slightly less spammy, but Fire Spins are doing a lot of damage here. So my thinking is, I know the Swampert still has some health in back, so I'm going to need to X-Scissor and Close Combat this Charizard, and then X-Scissor the Swampert. So I'm very carefully timing my moves. As you see, I actually let that Fire Spin register before I debuff myself, and I just barely survive. And now, can I get to the X-Scissor? And I X-Scissor the Swampert on like 2 HP, and Pinsir just took out a Charizard and a Swampert and sweeps another backline. So GG to the opponent. He probably is kicking himself there for letting a Pinsir sweep his team, and a Trevenant leading the next battle. Oh, this one's very, very entertaining. So we're a normal type, right? You'd think that we'd have a very nice Trevenant matchup, but actually we're fully walled by Trevenant, and as you see, this Trevenant is going straight Shadow Ball on our normal type. So we are Horn Attacking a Ghost type. They're Shadow Balling a normal type, and I was just dying here. I thought the opponent, I'm like, wow, this opponent must not know what they're doing if they're Shadow Balling a normal type. So I actually baited, and the opponent savagely calls my bait. So they're continuing to Shadow Ball our normal type, and I'm like, you know what? We're going to Earthquake it this time, and let's see if he respects the Earthquake. And he doesn't, and even though that's resisted, it does a lot of damage. But I'm going to commit to a farm down here, and the Trevenant is actually going to beat a normal type going straight Shadow Ball. So, yeah, Tauros is really bad, guys. And the opponent actually brings in an Obstagoon to our Pinsir, and I throw the X-Scissor on CMP, expecting that he's probably going to shield to get out his move. And he does shield. So now I'm hoping that X-Scissor has lulled this opponent into a false sense of security. Let's see. I tank the Night Slash in case he boosts. And now I'm going to overfarm here and go for the Close Combat right before he gets to another one. And what do you think, guys? The Obstagoon's probably like, yeah, I can take an X-Scissor, but he cannot tank a Close Combat. And we one-shot the Obstagoon. You just love to see it. So the opponent brings in a Regirock here, and basically, I just bring in the Lugia here to fully sacrifice it, because one Close Combat will not one-shot from full health. So as you see, I'm fully just sacrificing. I'm not shielding anything, and we're basically forcing him to throw all his energy, and our Dragon Tails have basically now gotten into close combat range here, and we still have 2 shields, and as you guys have seen, Pinsir with 2 shields can actually put in a ton of work. So we're just going to shield all these stone edges and basically just build up to the back-to-back close combats and throw them. I think our lose con at this point would be to have him potentially call an X-Scissor bait. And I think this was a CMP tie, but Regirock cannot double up on moves. So even if he's not there, we're going to outpace and we're going to get to the second close combat. And Pinsir yet again is going to be sweeping a pretty meta team of Obstagoon and Regirock. So GG to the opponent there. But yeah, close combat destroys the Regirock, and that's a good game. So I think we only have a couple left here, guys. I hope you're enjoying these battles. Let me know in the comments if you like the idea of me using Spice on my B account. We have a shiny Machamp in the next battle, and this is pretty bad. Pinsir doesn't really have the best matchup here, and they actually very wisely build up some energy, and then they bring in a Gliscor. So this is very, very bad. And there's not really anything we can do to this Gliscor, because in the Ultra League, Gliscor actually has a decent amount of bulk. As you see, these X-Scissors really aren't doing much. So what I'm hoping is that the opponent will commit to a full farm down here and allow me to get to a close combat. But as you see, they very wisely throw just before I get there. But the question is, does Night Slash KO? And they actually go for a Sand Tube, and that is not KO. And now we're going to get a close combat off on this Gliscor. It's not going to KO, but it's going to put this thing into a range where Tauros should be able to tackle down. So we're bringing in the Tauros here. They're going to hit us with multiple moves, I'm sure. But honestly, Tauros really doesn't have a lot of play against Machamp, so I'm not going to be shielding anything here. And are they running a second move? We'll have to see. And they do hit us with the Sand Tomb there, so maybe just a single move Gliscor. But then the opponent, I think, makes a mistake. He banks some energy, and he aggressively brings back in the Machamp. And now Tauros does not have to face this Machamp, which is very nice. Here, do I let this go? I think I do call a bait. And it looks like he is running Rock Slide. So as you see, that does about half. But the counters are double resisted here, which is very nice. So I think Lugia should be okay. Because again, Lugia is a tanky beast. So we're going to just keep farming up. We're going to be throwing on good timing after either 3 or 1 Dragon Tails. And our Sky Attack does get the shield here, which is very nice. And since I timed my moves well there, I'm actually going to get to a second Sky Attack before he gets to another move. And we actually get the second shield. So now I'm like, are we going to see a Tauros sweep potentially? So yeah, the opponent makes a very nice play. I was going to say I was going to switch out there, but the opponent actually makes a nice play. And as you see, he actually is running Night Slash. So I tank the move. I bring in the Tauros. I know the Machamp's going to be coming back in, but Machamp is quite low. And now we just have to hope that our Tauros can one-shot whatever's in back. And it's a Shadow Venusaur. And Shadow Venusaur is not prepared for this Earthquake, and Earthquake lands, nearly one-shotting the Shadow Venusaur, and the opponent realized their only win con was to farm down, and Tauros, let's give it some credit there, Tauros gets the sweep in this battle, and a very good game to the opponent. And we're getting to the last couple battles here, guys, and I did cut the video briefly. As you see, we had to get a little cat cameo before the video ended, and let's get into these last, I think, maybe 2 battles. And we're met with an Obstagoon here, so not a good situation to be in. So I'm going to try to pull off some shenanigans here and potentially catch a Cross Chop onto my Lugia where it would be double resisted. But was the opponent baiting, or does he go for the Cross Chop here? And we catch the Cross Chop. Look at how little damage that does. Lugia, as I've said, is an absolute thick beast. It really might actually be worth building one, guys. I would not recommend this team, but Lugia is just so thick. Even for a legendary in the Ultra League, it truly may actually be worth building. So keep that in mind. But we're just going to play this out. I will just be tanking these Night Slashes for days. This will already be, I think, the second one that we're tanking here. And we've gotten a shield from the Obstagoon too, which is incredible. Not many Psychic types can hold their own against an Obstagoon. So we tank the next one. They do unfortunately boost, so we are going to have to shield this one. I don't think a non-boosted one would quite KO. So we will respect this, and we'll overfarm here. We can overfarm by 3, and we can then force the opponent to make a decision on whether they want to give up their second shield or if they're just going to let their Goon go down. So let's see what he decides to do. And he just lets his Goon go down, and what do they have in the back? They have a Gengar in the back, and Lugia is just so tanky. We tank some Shadow Claws, and we're going to get the last shield here. And since we go down here with Switch Advantage, our Tauros is now going to be aligned to this Gengar, and Tauros does have access to Earthquake. The opponent tried to catch a move. We bring in the Pinsir. Pinsir has an actually pretty decent Venusaur matchup because Sludge Bomb does not one-shot us, excuse me. And our Tauros should be in a prime position to sweep here. So basically all we have to do is just get 2 moves off against the Venusaur, tackle down its remaining health, and then Earthquake the helpless Gengar in back. So I actually BM a little bit. No offense to the opponent or anything. The opponent's doing the best he can, but we go for the resisted close combat, and I still know that we're not in farm down range on this Venusaur, and they're forced to throw a move. And now Tauros finally can have its moment to shine. It can finally one-shot a Mon, and something that is ranked in like the high 400s on PV Poke is about to one-shot a Gengar, and the Earthquake obliterates the poor Gengar, and GG to the opponent. So I think this is the last battle. Yeah, this is the last battle into Swampert. So you guys have seen plenty of Swamperts. This one is running Mud Shot, so not the best situation for us. Tauros basically loses all matchups against Metamons, but the nice thing is, again, this opponent is just going to shield our Horn Attack because he just has no idea what we're running. So I actually throw on CMP as well, just to scare him even more. He's probably thinking, oh no, I have to get my Hydro Cannon off. I have to shield, and he shields a Horn Attack. And basically, yeah, usually I just let Tauros go down. Basically, it's only used to me as getting shield advantage in most of my battles that I played with this team. So we get shield advantage, and now we're just going to bring in the Lugia because, again, against Mudshot Swampert, Lugia has a very comfortable matchup. We can take 3 Hydro Cannons if need be. So I'm just going to be over farming here. We're going to get our Sky Attack off. It's probably not going to quite KO if they don't shield, but we should be able to Dragon Tail down here. And do they get to another one? Yeah, they just barely do get to another one. But this is alright because we're hoping that Pinsir will be able to sweep this game in the back. So we're farming down. What do they come in with here? We'll have to see. And they actually bring in a Registeel. So not what I was hoping to see. But as you guys are about to see, despite Aeroblast being resisted, Aeroblast is one of the most powerful moves of the game. And it's going to do a sizable chunk of damage to this Registeel, nearly getting it to half health. Plus the Dragon Tails, we actually get this Registeel to half health. So that is absolutely incredible. And now it's going to be all up to Pinsir to once again close out a battle. Here, I build up to the close combat and I throw the X-Scissor on CMP, hoping to get the opponent's last shield. But as you're about to see, this Savage calls my bait, and now we're going to be forced to shield a Zap Cannon and hopefully not get debuffed here. This would be really bad. And fortunately, we don't get debuffed, but now I'm going to be forced to debuff myself, and I don't know what's in the back. So if it's something with heavy fast move pressure, we're just going to lose this game. So let's see what's in back. We take out the Registeel, we're debuffed now, and it's a Cresselia. And you're about to see the opponent make a crucial mistake. He goes for the Grass Knot straight away on 6. He did not build up to the Moonblast, and despite being double debuffed, we tank a Grass Knot. And that allows us to not have to shield. And now we're going to have to get to 4 X-Scissors before we get Psycho Cutted down by a Cresselia. We get to 1, and we don't get a shield, but we're probably going to be getting a shield for the second one, because as you see, these X-Scissors and Fury Cutters actually do add up, and the Cresselia is forced to shield, and he actually throws some energy here, which is amazing, allowing us to get a Fury Cutter through, but we're getting very low, and I don't think one more X-Scissor is going to quite KO here. So we're going to get it off, but Cresselia is extremely bulky, and it does tank it. Can we get to one more? And on like 2 HP, Pinsir gets to its 4th X-Scissor and takes out another Cresselia, and that is a GG. So wow, I need to pause for a second and just catch my breath, because those battles absolutely flew by. But excuse me. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this format of video. This is the first time that I featured my battles on a separate account. I know there's some people that like that, some people that don't, but this gives us potential to potentially show some absolutely ridiculous teams in action. So let me know what you guys think. And that being said, we are now past 200 subscribers. So thank you all so much for your support. I really do appreciate all your support. Again, I've said this before, but for someone like me that works full time, that literally just makes like 1 video a week normally, it has been absolutely incredible to see all your guys' comments and feel the love from YouTube. So thank you very much. And remember, if you have not subscribed, please do so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.